Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, May 20th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market is still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, we are looking at NVAX. Big mover today, big volume, and now you have a pretty well-defined pattern here that has taken place. So let's get this mapped out here. And the first part that I think a lot of people have probably noticed, so I'm not trying to impress you, I'm not trying to imply this is some sort of great discovery or anything like that, but you got to think a lot of people are watching this area right up here around $8.15 as the main area of resistance. You can see right there. Sure, there was the breakout through there, but that didn't last, and then the price fell back below it. And then right here, the price just flat out got rejected at that area. So while nothing is guaranteed, I think a lot of people are watching that level. And when a lot of people are watching the same level and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So again, no guarantees, but valid to think that if the price comes up here there and breaks through it, I think it is definitely more than valid to think that that break right there could indeed create that much more upside buying pressure. So certainly a valid question to throw out there on, the possibility if that were to occur. In terms of levels of support, I think there's a nice little trend line here that makes sense to get thrown into play. So keep an eye on that. And that's what I would call the ideal level. If you're asked, Clay, what makes this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? Certainly if the price could stay above there, but from the overarching standpoint, as far as supports are concerned, I would keep an eye on that purple line right there, the 50-period moving average, because as the name implies, moving average. So as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So from an overarching standpoint, as long as the price is above that purple line, then in my opinion, the bulls are fully in control of the chart. But all in all, nice start to the week, and we'll see if the price can try to get up through that 815 mark. Next one, QBTS. Very nice mover today, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the video from Friday, but talked about that area right there at 1250 as an area of resistance. But with the price now breaking above it today, that's where a foundational rule in charting comes into play when levels of resistance are broken and closed above. You want to see them act as support, and that's essentially what played out here. You can see price broke above it. Nice back test right there as support. Came back down here again, a couple more times, behaved as support, and back up the price went. So keep an eye on that as the near-term area of support. And then in terms of areas of resistance, I think that trend line right there makes a whole lot of sense to get put into play. And then just from an overall pattern standpoint, let's keep it all one color to make it easier to see. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the upwards move right here. For you golfers out there, let me make it a little bit more visual. Put the golf ball on here. This would be a bull pennant pattern. Again, just because something is bullish does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to go upwards. But would it be shocking if the price came up here, broke up through that level, and then got some sort of great momentum? Absolutely would not be shocking. So a totally valid question to throw out there on whether or not, if the price were to break through there, does that generate upside buying pressure? So if you like bull pennant patterns, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, HCTI. I have to have this one all the way over here because if I do this, just given the crazy nature of everything, obviously you can't see any sort of analysis down here. But today, over 1 billion shares traded, so truly crazy. Let's see if I can do this a little bit more. There we go. Over 1 billion shares traded today, and just a crazy, crazy move. But clearly a lot of eyeballs watching this one. And when you have a lot of eyeballs watching, especially this sort of price range, when snapbacks happen, snapbacks can be pretty crazy. So but again, this is certainly just from an a trading standpoint, not investing. So I'm talking about this from the angle of somebody that cares about day trading and operating very quickly. I'm not saying this is some sort of great long-term investment. I don't know anything about the company other than it had a whole lot of volume today. So from a resistance standpoint, once again, got to think that a lot of people have probably drawn in a line very similar to that. And with that talking point of the self-fulfilling prophecies, nothing guaranteed, but in my mind, if the price could level out some more, come up there and then get the break up through that level. Does that break right there, generate additional buying pressure? As has been the key. No guarantees, but certainly a valid question to throw out there on whether or not the price, could generate some upwards buying pressure. Or on the flip side of things, where did the buyer stepped in previously? So let's change this to green for support. You can see that the price was down there at the 007 mark. So basically the James Bond level down here at 007. Is that a guarantee that if the price goes down there, it bounces again? But no, given it has before, there were some buyers down here before. So does it come down there and then maybe get a bounce off that level? Again, no guarantees, but a valid question to throw out there. But yeah, over 1 billion shares traded. Will this get some sort of bounce in the upwards direction over the next couple of days? If you like this price range, then certainly keep an eye on it. Next one here, FAAS. Very brutal looking chart, especially to think that there are some people that bought right there, or bought right there, or bought right there. And then just to have this thing continue to bleed and bleed and bleed. But what I find interesting on this one is this candle right here. The price, well, let me take a step back. The price, yes, it dropped, and then finally it started to go sideways, which doesn't guarantee anything, but makes it a little bit more valid to suggest maybe some sort of bottom is in. But then that candle right there showed up. So while that still does not guarantee anything, it does, in my opinion at least, allow for a very exciting question, and that question is this. Is this the start of something bigger? Has this pullback finally ended? Does this green candle here, followed by a little bit, a bit of a red candle here, but the fact is, the buyers did step in right here. Will these buyers carry into Tuesday? Again, no guarantees, so stop losses matter, risk management matters, and I know I keep saying no guarantees, but I want to continue to hammer that home throughout the course of this. There's no such thing as a guarantee. A best a chart can do is just help us try to throw out some possibilities, and this is one where I think it makes sense to ask that question. But think about that question, is this the start of something bigger? It makes no sense to ask the question if nothing worthwhile is even happening. But in this situation, something worthwhile happening, right? It pulled back, and then you got that green candle. So to be fair, maybe this thing rolls right back over. But again, to be fair, because that is a two-sided question, well, maybe this is the start, and this thing gets rocking and rolling once again. So risk management matters, but yes, very interesting scenario here, especially for those of you that like penny stocks. Next one here, NVDA, and really nothing new to report, especially if you've been watching past videos. So this stubborn area up here right around 136.30 remains the key battleground. The good news is it's not like the price got hammered back to the downside. In fact, both situations, both on the gap down here, and then you can see a pretty big drop right there, and then a pretty big drop right there. But in all three situations, the buyers step back in and push the price back up, push the price back up, push the price back up. So still well within striking distance of that 136.30 mark. And now just, truly a question of can the buyers stay in to just keep the price in this upwards area, and just to kind of map out what seemingly is now taking shape as the bottom part of the sideways movement, right down here around 131.50. Even today, though, during the gap down, price can still quite technically hit that level. But, just with the way things are shaping up, it's looking like 131.50 is going to be the kind of that bottom part of this sideways movement. But yes, like I said, I think the most interesting dynamic is each time the price came down, buyers brought it back up, and brought it back up. So can the price bring it back up here and get the breakout over the next couple of days? We'll see what happens. Real quick, want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down below in the description area you can use. Or if you're watching right at my website, there's an area on the webpage that you can use to sign up. But like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. Next one here, ticker symbol PLUG, and another very nice day here on the chart. And overall, really, I think two main levels most people will be watching. First key level in terms of resistances is that pink line up there, the famous 200 period moving average, right now valued at 0.827. And then on the flip side of things, as far as the key area of support right down there, that purple line, the 50 period moving average right now valued at 0.753. So really, it's just kind of, I think most people will be wondering who ultimately wins out of this battle. Do the bears win with a push to the downside of that moving average, or do the bulls win with a push to the upside? That seems to be the main dynamic right there. But you got to think, at least in my opinion, most people are going to be watching those key levels. But anyway, look at it. Very impressive movement over the past couple of days. To think that not that long ago, the price was down here. Now all of a sudden the price is all the way up in this area of the chart. So now just a question of can the price continue to show signs of progress by building higher bases as the week plays out? We'll see what happens over the next few days. Next one, PTIX. Very impressive mover today. And now I think a lot of people are going to be watching this one moving forward with some well-defined areas. So let's just map out this pattern here. Top part of the pattern, main area of resistance, let's just call right up there at about the $14 mark. And then on the flip side of things, you have this nice little uptrending trend line like so. And then just to make the pattern easier to see, let's keep it all the same color. So we have our area of resistance. We have our area of support. We have the big upwards move right there. And our golf hole down here, the bull pennant pattern. So I'm going through this a little quicker because you've already heard me talk about this pattern. But as a reminder, just because it's a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to go upwards. But would it be shocking at all if the price came up here, got the break, and then that break right there created additional buying pressure? I don't think that's a faulty question to throw out there at all. I think that's a more than plausible scenario. and a worthwhile question is, to consider. So if you like to play bull pennants, you like to play this sort of price range, then certainly keep an eye on it. Next one here, LCID, and overall, the chart is fine, and I emphasize the word overall because if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you're gonna call yourself, and you're buying, back on Friday right here, then yeah, for you the chart's looking pretty rough because yeah, it did pull back quite a bit. But again, going back to that keyword of overall, sure the price is right here, but it's still very nicely above the pink line right here, and it's still nicely above the lows right here, even lows that were lower down here. So from the grand scheme of things, the overall trend is still in the upwards direction. But once more, I do well aware that if you're some sort of scalper day trader that bought right there, yeah, you don't really care about the overall standpoint. But that's why I'm trying to emphasize keyword. So yes, individually today, not the greatest of scenarios, but assuming you do care about the bigger picture, price still has plenty of opportunity to build that higher base. And that is why I would say, keeping an eye on and making sure that the price does stay up here above that pink line right there at 254 is an important area. But even right now, the price isn't still really anywhere close to it. But nonetheless, still keep an eye on that from an overall health perspective. But not the greatest way to start off the week, but still 4 days left to see if the price can try to get back up to those highs. Next one here, SYTA. And really the last time I looked at this one, I was planning on talking about some sort of, bull pennant formation, very crudely drawn right there. But yeah, things changed because this final 30 minutes got a very nice break up through the pattern on solid volume. So we now move into that question that I've talked about before, but always an exciting question. Is this the start of something even bigger? Like I said earlier, that question makes no sense if nothing worthwhile is happening. But in this situation, something worthwhile is happening. What? Well, the breakout. And as I mentioned, just to reiterate, the key dynamic here is that there's no guarantees. So to be fair, maybe this is a fake breakout. Maybe it collapses. But again, to be fair, maybe, because that's a two-sided coin, this is a genuine breakout, and this thing is going to keep ripping and roaring over the next couple of days. So nobody has the answer to that, but the fact of the matter is, very solid, very exciting breakout. So yes, is this breakout the start of even more momentum to come over the next few days? Grab your popcorn if you like to play these sorts of situations. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and I want to, once more, like I've done in the past ones, emphasize keywords, but overall, everything is still perfectly fine. Scalpers, day traders, whatever you want to call yourself, that bought right there. Yeah, for you, pretty disappointed with the gap down today. But even with the gap down, bulls stepped up several times. I mean, right there, the bears try to make a press downwards, came back up. Right there, bears try to press downwards, back up. Right there, bears try to press downwards, back up. So the bull stepped in on several occasions, and as I extend this area out right here, the price is still well within striking distance of pushing through that red line there. Although I will say that in the very near term, after today's taken shape, definitely keep an eye on that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. You can see right there behaved as resistance, and even right there behaved as resistance. So I'm not saying that the price can't break through that level. My main point here is that really before you put too much evidence, or too much focus back on that area right there, let's first see if the price can push up through that purple line right there. But all in all, I am going to make a little adjustment here because it seems as though the main buyers are hanging right down here around 334.65, because when you factor that in and now you look right there, beautiful bounce, 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 bounce. So if the price does come back down, then 334.65 does really seem to be where the buyers are hanging out at. But all things considered, I would say today, even with the gap down, pretty impressive just because, once again, there is 3 separate times where the bears try to press downwards, but the bulls stepped up each and every time. So we'll see if the bulls can continue to push back upwards over the next couple of days. So grab your popcorn again, and we'll see what the bulls have in store. So that wraps up the top 10 lists. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more, then definitely get signed up for the free class. It'll be later this week, Thursday, May 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, make sure you hit that like button, and also be sure you're a subscriber to the channel so you know when new content is released. And also, I am live streaming. So if you want to check things out, I always live stream at 11 a.m. Eastern Time for a few hours. So if you're around at any point, like I said, make sure to swing by, say hello, I ask questions or whatever, or you can ask me questions, but would love to see you and love to have you on the live stream. So thanks for watching, and again, make sure you go get signed up for that free class this coming Thursday.